Hello and welcome to Multimedia Plus online television news with me, Eustace Victor Jones. Coming up, Sierra Leone enforces a compulsory use of facial masks in public places. The decision comes following the lifting of inter-district lockdowns and partial reopening of schools across the country. And Sierra Leone is to join other countries around the world in commemoration of World Hepatitis Day. All of these stories, as usual, and more are lined up on this edition of Multimedia Plus online television news with me, Eustace Victor Jones. Stay with me. The fight against COVID-19 in Sierra Leone has been ever intensifying, with more strategies being devised every day. One of the most recent containment measures is the compulsory wearing of facial masks in public places. Our reporter, MMC Rebecca Kamara, has been investigating how well that declaration has fared.
The putting of facial masks in public places is now compulsory, set to taxing ensuring a swift compliance to this measure in Sierra Leone Police. According to the communication officer of the Sierra Leone Police, Superintendent Brahma Kamara, the force is strongly enforcing and encouraging the general public to make the wearing of face masks a routinely practice. Superintendent Brahma Kamara said that the social mobilization and contact tracing are important to the fight against the virus, and that the force will continue to encourage and sensitize the public on the importance of the use of face masks.
To be honest, some people are kicking against the face mask. Some people are making efforts to comply, and some people are complying. And for those who are complying, that's very good for us, because they are sort of adhering to the precautions set out by NACOVAC. And those who are attempting to comply, in other words, they can use it today, or they use it between 10 or 15 minutes, and then they think they must not even use it. Those ones we continue to encourage them to do, and let them go by the advice of the medical people. And then equally so, for those who don't want to do it, we have them probably in the majority. Those are the ones we have to continue to appeal to, that nobody is punishing them. Nobody is punishing me for doing what I'm doing, for masking out up in public. But it is being done simply because we want to mitigate. We want to cut the spread of the disease in the vehicle, and we are stopped by the police, and then we come to realize that you're not putting on your mask. The penalty we have on books, on the papers, is 100,000 loans. It could be the driver, it could be the passenger, but nobody is going to pay for somebody. In other words, if you are a passenger in a vehicle, don't say, I was in the vehicle of a certain driver, so the driver should pay for me. No. Every man is responsible for his or her own crime. If you are in default, you are in default. Understand? So that's the situation. They must pay 100,000. For those in the market areas, they are also supposed to put on the mask. The guys who are doing the sellers, and then the buyers, the traders, as well as the customers, they have to. And if they do not, and then they are arrested, then they will have to pay 20,000 loans each. So that's the situation. That's the penalty.
History has it that there is no love lost between Sierra Leone Police and the general public. Given that obvious fact, how many complaints have been given by members of the public to the enforcement of a compulsory wearing of face masks by the police?
Face masks, not all user, because ultimately all the user, this corona, what they sell so safe. We never know, would I get the sick, would I not get the sick? So like, what the other they can buy, what they sell, not all use the face masks. Because you know, see, now they can sell, but they use the face mask. So they beg me company together, they all use the face masks.
And these are measures where the government puts in place in the fight against COVID-19. As you see, I get my marks on, but if you see how they struggle even for talk, at the same time, they struggle out for breathe. So it's not just easy, but we have no other way to do. But for accept, because if this go able to make it stop the spread, I think that welcome news to all.
Although man see the decree as punitive and compelling, they have resorted to agreeing to the new normal as a way of winning the fight against COVID-19. Multimedia Plus, Memesi Rebecca Kamara.
So we are moving on now to health. World Hepatitis Day is observed on 28th of July every year. Now, medical reports say the disease has been a silent killer ever since the early 1970s. Global statistics show that about 95% are currently living unconsciously with the disease, whilst 1% of them are undergoing treatment. Hepatitis has claimed the lives of millions of people worldwide, and its contagion rate is still ever increasing. Our reporter, Theresa Thomas, has been investigating the level of infection of the disease in Sierra Leone ahead of the day.
According to global statistics, 10 million people has been infected with hepatitis, and about 95% are currently living unconsciously with the disease, whilst 1% are undergoing treatment. Shockingly, about 1.4 million people die every year from the disease, according to the chairman, National Hepatitis Task Force at the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Samuel Donald Smith. Hepatitis is a growing global health concern. He said about 500 million people has been infected with this disease, and hundreds more die as a result of chronic liver disease.
This annual event demonstrates the growing concern about viral hepatitis as a global public health issue. The prevalence of hepatitis on a global scale is staggering. 1 in 12 people worldwide are affected by hepatitis. That equates to over 500 million people. Over 1 million of those people die each year, and many experience reduced quality of life as a result of chronic liver diseases such as cirrhosis and liver cancer. So what do we really want to achieve while commemorating World Hepatitis Day? We want to bring attention to viral hepatitis, to turn the disease from unknown, the undiagnosed, and the untreated to the known, prevented, tested, and treated.
Hepatitis had long been plaguing people since 1976. There are 5 known categories of the disease: hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. The disease transmits through cuts, sweat, and more. Pharmacist John Smith is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Alliance Against Hepatitis.
To say to the public, but saying like we have a public health, like when COVID-19 comes, we have the first case or we have the index case for hepatitis. That would have happened way down before 2014. But maybe it has not been recorded nationally, and then maybe probably show to the public that at this particular time we've got our first case of hepatitis in Sierra Leone. It has been in existence before I came in to start talking about this hepatitis.
So if
they will not register, they will not sterilize, you could pass it on. Maybe you decide to go and give blood, even though now they screen blood, because you cannot pass on infected blood to somebody. So all this means the danger is if you know you have it and you decided not to follow what they say, the danger about it to your health, you're going to lose your life. You will die definitely, because but then if you do the test, the other part of it again, if you don't have it, it means you have to go for vaccine.
The Chief Executive Officer of the City Globe Pharmacy, who also does as the founder of NOHA Foundation, pharmacist Manal Ghazawi, said hepatitis can be classified as infectious and non-infectious disease. She said about 70 million people in Africa are living with the disease. A rough statistics of about 60 million more are with hepatitis B, whilst close to 10 million more still have been plagued with hepatitis C.
Now the good news for hepatitis C, there's a cure for it, while as hepatitis B there's no cure. So, but there's a preventive measure, which is the vaccination. The best way to prevent hepatitis B is to be vaccinated. So also those that are infected with the virus do not necessarily need to be treated, except there are certain laboratory investigations that are being done to check the liver function and to check the amount of the virus that's in the body and to do other laboratory investigations. So with that, if the virus is very high and the liver also is affected or damaged, or there's a big sign of inflammation of the liver, then the patient needs treatment. So in short, not every individual infected with hepatitis B need treatment.
Why?
There is a great survival rate in the sense that not everybody infected with the virus will develop liver disease. So 5% of the population infected with the virus will end up having chronic liver disease. And among that 5%, not all of them will even have the chronic liver disease or liver cirrhosis or liver cancer, which are the complications of hepatitis B or C.
She continued by saying that 90% of the population in Africa lack access to this treatment of diagnosed patients. A World Health Organization report says the only way to eliminate hepatitis is by intensifying anti-hepatitis vaccine to newly born babies. Multimedia Plus Online Television, Teresa Thomas reporting.
Still to come on the program, a cross-section of members of the Sierra Leone We Want consortium embarks on a sensitization tour to schools around Freetown with messages of anti-examination malpractice and patriotism.
Production. Multimedia Plus, number one at the country. Multimedia Plus, beyond creativity that now we mission. Multimedia Plus, we they bring to you so much quality. Multimedia Plus, number one, yeah. Quality video we there, photo shoot, voiceover we there. And soundtrack we there, documentary, podcast we there, market and sales, audio production sell we there. Don't forget to Napokana Multimedia Leash. Welcome to the land of creativity. Yeah, at the bongo bluff with me beauty. Yeah. If you see me photo, see quality. If you see me video, see quality. If you listen me music, see quality. You go feel say na magic. See quality. Number 2 come with 6 na the place. Yes. After sabiti the customer the way.
Now to something quite nationalistic and revolutionary in nature. For over a month now, many social media users have been uploading pictures on their WhatsApp and Facebook statuses bearing the inscription, "The Sierra Leone We Want." The phrase describes an organization that is set to embolden patriotic actions and raise awareness on collective responsibility to citizens of the state. Members of the said organization have recently been embarking on the sensitization tours to schools, preaching messages of patriotism and anti-examination malpractice to pupils who are about to write the WASC exams. Multimedia's Fatmata Binta Jallo reports.
They went to state that these are moments for the pupils to pull all extracurricular activities aside and work towards their goals, stating that they must be overzealous so as to attain success, because cheating and malpractice should not be an option.
To ensure by now you have your timetables. How many of us have timetables to study? If you don't, make conscious effort to create your timetable to ensure you are able to become the success story you will be proud of.
Because a lot of them are doing what is easy than what is right. Hello? Is there any correlation with what I'm saying? If your teacher doesn't come to class to teach you, and at the end of the day he gives you leakages, he's doing what is easy for him, is that not so? Rather than what is right. But when he comes to class, he's actually doing what is right, preparing you for the exams.
If you just come to school and just pass exams, That is no excellence if you don't understand the subject matter, right? And that is why we're encouraging you this morning that as you prepare for your exams, you should not concentrate on the cheating aspect of it, because what cheating does, cheating will get you into the university. You will still continue cheating and you will still graduate from the university. But then you find it very difficult in life to accomplish certain things. Because in life it's about excellence. You still have to raise 100,000 youths, 200,000 youths to come and bribe the teacher so that you can get better grades. So that the ladies will look at you, that they get sense of, Sierra Leone force, but it was actually paid for. How do we change that narrative? Imagine you spend 2 hours reading your books, understanding the notes, and having a grasp or master the crafts. Now, when you come to exams, you have to write that exam. You go out, and you do not have to spend 100 or 200,000 euros to pay the teacher to pass your exams. Now, what?
All of you need to be extremely dedicated to your schoolwork. These are not normal times. Already, the corona has done lots of harm. And we are worried that you have very little time to prepare for these exams. But even though you have very little time to prepare for these exams, it's very important that you make use of this time you have. You have to work extremely hard, you have to be focused, you have to ensure that you do your very best. I know this is a new media age, new technologies. All of us are on social media platforms. All of us on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media platforms. But guys, can that just wait till after your exams? Now, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your mom, your relatives, your family members, tell them that you're preparing for your exams. Let everybody understand that this is very important to you.
Principals of both schools admonished members of the Sierra Leone We Want to continue embarking on such campaigns, stating that it is timely, as they then expressed thanks and appreciation to them for their commitment and act of patriotism.
So as a school, we often go around and tell them. They know, my students know me very well, past and present. They know that I don't compromise cheating in examination. I often tell them, that is why I always ask teachers to teach them. In fact, in my school, what I have done, I have a special committee. Unfortunately, I was just asking for the teacher that is in charge, one Mr. Kuroma, ATK Kuroma. He's in charge. That is a special committee I call anti-examination malpractice.
When you are caught, you are asked to go home, leave the school. But luckily, ever since I've been around, nobody has ever been caught doing exams malpractice in this particular school. So we never engage or have to use that policy.
So how often?
Interestingly, for every time we have examination, means internal or external, the kids themselves know if they are caught spying, there's a punishment for that. So we always tell them during examination, don't spy.
The Sierra Leone We Want campaign is still ongoing in various schools in the western area, with a media engagement encouraging pupils to focus on their schoolwork and put in their best to embolden patriotic actions through awareness raising on collective responsibility to the state. According to the team, series of engagements in this fashion will follow in coming months as a way of spreading the gospel of patriotism to every corner of the country. Multimedia Plus Online Television, Fatmata Binta Jallo reporting.
There is a global outbreak of a new coronavirus disease that is rapidly spreading to a number of countries around the world. Common signs and symptoms include cough, fever, shortness of breath, and difficulty in breathing. In severe cases, complications include pneumonia, and kidney failure may occur and possibly leads to death if left untreated. Everyone is at risk of getting this disease. The virus is spread through droplets produced during coughing or sneezing by a sick person. You can get the disease if you are in close contact with a person who has the disease or infected animals and animal products. Travel to areas affected by the outbreak is a risk to getting infected. To protect yourself and others, wash your hands frequently with soap and water or use alcohol-based hand rubs. Cook your meat products and eggs thoroughly. If you are infected, prevent spreading the disease by covering your mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing with flexed elbow or tissue, and wash your hands immediately after. If you suspect that you or a member of your family or anybody has the coronavirus, you should immediately seek medical care at the nearest health facility.
That's about precisely the Sierra Leone everyone wants, where corruption will be a stranger to the country. Hope to see a reflection of this exercise and the outcome of the Beke and WASC results. That's all for now. That's how we'll wrap up today's edition of the news. But before we close, as usual, let's recap our headlines. Sierra Leone enforces a compulsory use of facial masks in public places. The decision comes following the lifting of inter-district lockdowns and partial reopening of schools across the country. And Sierra Leone is to join other countries around the world in commemoration of World Hepatitis Day. Thank you very much indeed for sharing your time with us. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Multimedia Plus Online Television for more updates, news broadcasts, programs and interviews. We are also on Facebook at Multimedia Plus. Please visit, like and share our page in case you have not done so. This is Victor Jones. Thanks very much indeed once again for watching. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye for now.